What if I told you the person you are planning to marry might already be showing you signs that they are not meant for you? Not after marriage, not years later, right now, but you are ignoring them because your heart is already attached. And the dangerous part is, when Allah shows signs before marriage and you ignore them, those same signs become your biggest pain after marriage. So before you make a decision you cannot easily reverse, ask yourself one question: are you seeing clearly, or are you just feeling deeply? And before we go deeper, tell me, where are you watching this from? And what time is it in your city right now? Because what you are about to hear might protect your future. The loss of peace is not love. It is a warning from Allah. There is something many people ignore when they start loving someone, and that is the quiet feeling inside their chest that does not fully settle, the kind of feeling that stays even after the conversation ends, even after the laughter fades, even after the good moments pass, a feeling that something is not completely right, but you cannot explain it, so you try to silence it. You try to convince yourself that this is just fear, that this is just overthinking, that maybe love is supposed to feel this way, a little unstable, a little uncertain, a little heavy at times. But the truth is far deeper than that, because when Allah places something good in your life, especially something as serious as a future spouse, He does not attach it to constant anxiety and emotional exhaustion. He does not make your heart feel like it is always trying to figure things out, always trying to decode mixed signals, always trying to chase clarity that never fully comes, because real peace is not something you have to beg for in a relationship that is meant for you. It is something that naturally exists within it. You will notice that when you are with the wrong person, your mind never rests. You replay conversations again and again. You question their intentions. You overanalyze small actions. You wonder why their words and actions do not match. You feel close one moment and distant the next. And this creates a cycle inside you where you are emotionally attached, but internally unsettled. And this is where many people get trapped because they mistake emotional intensity for real connection. They think that because they feel deeply, it must be right. But deep feelings without peace are not a sign of something good. They are often a sign that your heart is struggling to accept what your soul already knows. Allah created the concept of sakina, a deep calmness that settles in the heart when something is right for you. And this calmness is not loud. It does not come with dramatic highs and lows. It does not confuse you. It does not make you feel like you are constantly walking on emotional uncertainty. Instead, it gives you a sense of stability, a quiet confidence that even if things are not perfect, they are still clear, still respectful, still grounded in something real. And when that is missing, when instead of calmness you feel tension, doubt, and emotional heaviness, then you need to pause and reflect, because this is not something small that you should ignore. Sometimes Allah does not remove a person immediately from your life. Instead, He places discomfort in your heart so that you wake up before it is too late, so that you start noticing the patterns, the inconsistencies, the lack of emotional safety, the way your peace disappears even when nothing obvious is wrong. And that discomfort is actually a form of mercy, because it is far better to feel uneasy before marriage than to feel trapped after it. Far better to question things now than to regret them later, when walking away becomes harder, heavier, and more painful. And this is where honesty becomes important, because you have to stop asking yourself whether you love them and start asking yourself whether you are at peace with them, because love can grow in the wrong places. Attachment can form even when something is not right, but peace cannot be forced. Peace cannot be faked, and peace does not come from chasing someone who keeps making you feel uncertain. It comes from being aligned with what Allah knows is best for you, even if your heart has not fully accepted it yet. So if you find yourself constantly feeling restless, constantly trying to justify things that do not sit right, constantly hoping that things will somehow fix themselves without real change, then understand this clearly. This is not just a phase. This is not just overthinking. This could be a sign from Allah that you are about to attach your future to something that will not bring you the peace you are truly searching for. And ignoring this feeling will not make it disappear. it will only make it louder later in a way that is much harder to escape. When they pull you away from Allah, it is not love. It is a test. There is something extremely dangerous that happens slowly in the wrong relationship. Something that most people do not notice in the beginning, because it does not come suddenly. It comes quietly, step by step, moment by moment, until one day you look at yourself and realize you are not the same person you used to be, not in your habits, not in your priorities, not in your connection with Allah. And the scariest part is that you did not even see it happening, because it felt normal while it was happening. At first, everything seems harmless. You talk a little longer than you should. You delay a prayer here and there. You become slightly more relaxed about your boundaries. You justify small compromises by telling yourself that it is just temporary, that once things become serious, once marriage happens, everything will become better, everything will become more halal, more structured, more peaceful. But what you fail to realize is that what begins in disobedience rarely transforms into something pure without sincere change, and what starts by pulling you away from Allah will not suddenly become the reason you move closer to Him. Pay attention to what this person does to your soul, not just your emotions, because emotions can be strong even in the wrong places. Emotions can convince you to hold on even when something is damaging you. But your soul reacts differently. Your soul feels the distance. Your soul feels when your connection with Allah is weakening. Your soul feels the weight of choices that are not aligned with what is right. And if being with this person is making you pray less, making you feel less guilty about things you once cared deeply about, making you ignore what you know is right just to keep them in your life, then you are not moving towards something blessed. You are slowly moving away from it. The right person does not compete with your relationship with Allah. They protect it, they respect it, they encourage it even without forcing it. They make it easier for you to stay grounded. They make you feel comfortable being your best self, not your compromised self. Because real love does not ask you to lower your standards. Real love aligns with your values. It does not fight against them. And if someone truly cares about you, they will never be the reason you feel distant from the one who created you. Sometimes people say, we will fix everything after marriage. But this is one of the biggest illusions, because marriage does not change character. It only exposes it more clearly. If someone is careless about your faith now, they will not suddenly become protective of it later. If they are comfortable pulling you into wrong habits now, they will not magically guide you towards better ones later. And believing otherwise is not hope, it is ignoring reality. And this is where you need to be honest with yourself, in a way that is uncomfortable but necessary, because you have to stop asking how much you feel for them and start asking what this relationship is doing to your akhirah, what it is doing to your discipline, your values, your identity. Because at the end of the day, the person you marry will influence not just your dunya but your akhirah as well. They will either help you grow in ways that bring you closer to Allah, or they will become a distraction that slowly weakens you without you even realizing it. So if you find that your connection with Allah becomes weaker around them, if your priorities start shifting in a way that does not feel right, if you are constantly choosing them over what you know is better for your faith, then understand this clearly. This is not a small issue that you can ignore. This is one of the clearest signs you can ever receive, because anything that consistently pulls you away from Allah is not meant to stay in your life. No matter how strong your feelings are, no matter how attached your heart has become, because what is written for you will never require you to lose yourself in order to keep it. Their true character appears when they lose control. There is a version of every person that only appears when things do not go their way, a version that you will never fully see in happy conversations, in calm moments, or in the early stages when everything is still exciting and controlled, because in those moments people choose their words carefully. They present the best side of themselves. They stay patient, respectful, and kind. But that is not the full picture of who they are. That is only who they are when everything feels easy. The real truth about a person is revealed when pressure enters the situation, when expectations are not met, when emotions rise, when disagreements happen, when frustration builds, because that is when control weakens and what is inside the heart begins to show without filters, without preparation, without effort. And this is exactly the moment you need to pay attention to more than anything else. Watch how they speak when they are angry, not just what they say, but how they say it. Because respect is not real if it only exists in calm moments. Respect is real when someone is upset, but still chooses to control their tongue, still chooses not to humiliate you, still chooses not to cross boundaries that should never be crossed. And if someone becomes harsh, insulting, dismissive, or emotionally cold the moment they are triggered, then understand that this is not a small flaw. This is a pattern that will only become stronger with time, not weaker. Many people make the mistake of excusing this behavior by saying it only happens sometimes, or it only happens when they are stressed, or they did not mean it. But what you have to understand is that marriage will not remove stress, it will increase it. Responsibilities will grow, challenges will come, difficult moments will become more frequent, and if someone cannot handle small emotional situations now, they will not suddenly handle bigger ones later with more wisdom, because pressure does not create character, it reveals it. Also pay attention to how they treat people who have nothing to offer them, how they speak to strangers, how they respond to service workers, how they behave when there is no benefit involved. Because a person's true character is not shown in how they treat someone they love. It is shown in how they treat those they do not need. And if there is arrogance, impatience, or lack of basic respect in those moments, then you are seeing something real that you should not ignore. Sometimes Allah shows you small glimpses of someone's reality before marriage, not to confuse you, but to protect you, not to create doubt, but to give you clarity. And ignoring these moments is one of the biggest mistakes people make, because they focus more on the good times and convince themselves that the bad moments are rare or unimportant. But in reality, those bad moments are not exceptions, they are previews. And this is where you need to be completely honest with yourself, because you have to stop asking whether they are good to you most of the time and start asking what happens when they are not. Because marriage is not built on how someone treats you when everything is going well, it is built on how they handle the moments when things are difficult, when emotions are high, when patience is tested, because those are the moments that will define your peace or your pain in the future. So if you have already seen signs of disrespect, emotional instability, uncontrolled anger, or a lack of accountability, do not ignore it thinking it will disappear, because what you see now is the lighter version, the controlled version, the early version, and if you choose to overlook it, you are not just accepting the present, you are accepting a future where those same traits will exist in a stronger, more permanent way, and by then walking away will not be as simple as it is today. When they avoid real commitment, it is not confusion, it is a sign. There is a difference between someone who is genuinely trying to build a future with you and someone who is simply enjoying your presence without any real intention of taking responsibility. And that difference becomes clear not through their words, but through their actions, their consistency, and their willingness to move things forward in a real and structured way. Because anyone can speak about love, anyone can make promises, anyone can create emotional moments that feel meaningful, but not everyone is ready to carry the weight of commitment that comes with marriage. In the beginning, everything may feel intense. They express how much you mean to them, they talk about a future, they make you feel special. But when it comes to taking actual steps, things become slow, unclear, and delayed. Conversations about involving family are pushed aside, plans remain vague, timelines keep changing, and you are left in a state where you are emotionally invested but practically uncertain. And this is where many people get trapped because they hold on to the feelings while ignoring the lack of direction. You start telling yourself that maybe they need more time, maybe their situation is complicated, maybe they are not ready yet but will be soon. And while patience is important, there is a difference between patience with progress and patience with excuses, because real intention shows movement. Even if it is slow, it shows effort, it shows seriousness, it shows a willingness to make things clear and halal. But when there is no movement, no clarity, and no real step forward, then what you are experiencing is not a delay, it is avoidance. Understand this clearly. When someone truly wants to marry you, they do not keep you in uncertainty. They do not leave you guessing where you stand. They do not keep things hidden or informal for too long. They bring clarity into the situation. They involve the right people. They take responsibility even if it is difficult. Because when something matters to a person, they find a way to move towards it instead of finding reasons to stay in the same place. And sometimes Allah shows you this lack of seriousness as a form of protection, because being with someone who enjoys your presence but avoids commitment will drain you slowly. It will keep you emotionally attached without giving you the security you deserve. It will make you invest your time, your energy, your heart into something that is not stable, and the longer it continues, the harder it becomes to walk away because your attachment grows while your clarity decreases. Also, pay attention to how they respond when you bring up the topic of marriage seriously. Do they become distant? Do they change the subject? Do they give unclear answers? Do they make you feel like you are asking for too much? Because wanting clarity in something as important as marriage is not pressure, it is maturity, and the right person will not make you feel guilty for wanting something that is right. Marriage is not just about feelings, it is about responsibility, structure, and clear intention. And if someone is not willing to step into that responsibility now, there is no guarantee they will suddenly be ready later, because readiness is not something that appears out of nowhere. It is something that is shown through actions over time, through effort, through consistency, through a willingness to make things right, even when it is not easy. So if you find yourself in a situation where everything feels emotional but nothing feels certain, where promises exist but actions do not follow, where you are always waiting for clarity that never fully comes, then understand this clearly. This is not something small that you should ignore. This is one of the clearest signs you can receive, because the person meant for you will not keep you in confusion. They will bring you into clarity, and they will do it with respect, with intention, and with a seriousness that protects your heart instead of playing with it. When you keep justifying their red flags, you are ignoring Allah's warning. There comes a point in a relationship where the truth is no longer hidden from you. It is not unclear. It is not confusing. It is not something you might be imagining. It is something you see, something you feel, something you recognize again and again in different situations. But instead of accepting it, you begin to explain it away. You begin to defend it. You begin to create reasons for why it is not as serious as it looks. And this is one of the most dangerous stages a person can reach, because at that point you are no longer unaware. You are aware but choosing attachment over truth. You notice the way they speak when they are upset. You notice the inconsistency between their words and their actions. You notice the lack of effort when things become serious. You notice how your peace disappears after certain conversations. You notice how you feel emotionally drained instead of emotionally safe. And yet you find yourself saying things like maybe they didn't mean it, or they will change with time, or no one is perfect, or I just need to be more patient. And slowly, without realizing it, you begin to lower your standards, not because you truly believe this is acceptable, but because you are afraid of losing them. And this is where the real problem begins, because love should never require you to silence your own clarity. It should never force you to ignore what is clearly unhealthy. It should never make you accept things that you once knew were unacceptable, because when you start justifying red flags, you are not protecting the relationship. You are sacrificing your future for the sake of your present emotions, and emotions, no matter how strong they feel, are not always a reliable guide when they are clouded by attachment. Understand something very important. Allah does not expose flaws in a person so you can ignore them. He exposes them so you can see clearly before making a decision that will affect your entire life. Those small moments that bother you, those patterns that repeat, those behaviors that make you uncomfortable, they are not random, they are not meaningless, they are not things you are supposed to overlook. They are signs, and every time you dismiss them, you are choosing to walk forward with less awareness than you were given. Many people enter marriage thinking things will improve, thinking that commitment will fix what is already broken, thinking that once everything becomes official, the person will become more responsible, more respectful, more consistent. But this is one of the biggest illusions, because marriage does not transform character, it magnifies it. It takes what is already there and places it into a more intense, more permanent environment. And if someone is showing you patterns now, those patterns will not disappear later. They will become part of your daily life. There is also a subtle emotional trap that forms when you keep justifying someone's behavior, and that is the belief that you can fix them, that your patience, your love, your understanding will somehow change them into the person you hope they can become. But this is not your responsibility, and more importantly, this is not how real change works, because people do not change because someone loves them enough. They change when they are willing to take responsibility for themselves, and if that willingness is not already there, no amount of your effort will create it. You also need to ask yourself a very honest question, one that many people avoid because the answer can be uncomfortable. If this exact same behavior continues after marriage, would you be able to live with it peacefully? Not just tolerate it, not just survive it, but truly live with it without feeling emotionally drained, without feeling regret, without feeling like you ignored something you should have taken seriously. And if the answer is no, then you already have the clarity you need, even if your heart is trying to deny it. Sometimes what you call love is actually fear. Fear of starting over, fear of losing the time you have invested, fear of being alone, fear of not finding someone else. And this fear pushes you to hold on to something that is not right for you, convincing you that staying is easier than leaving. But in reality, staying in the wrong place does not protect you from pain. It only delays it and often makes it deeper, heavier, and more difficult to escape later. And this is where you need to understand the mercy behind clarity, because seeing the truth before marriage is a gift. Even if it hurts, even if it breaks your expectations, even if it forces you to walk away from someone you care about, it is still better than discovering the same truth when you are already tied to them in a way that is harder to undo, when leaving carries more consequences, more complications, more emotional weight. So if you find yourself constantly explaining away things that clearly disturb your peace, constantly defending behavior that you would not accept from anyone else, constantly choosing to ignore what your heart already recognizes, then pause and reflect deeply, because this is not just about them anymore. This is about your willingness to see what Allah is showing you, and whether you will accept it now with courage or face it later with regret. Because ignoring red flags does not make them disappear. It only ensures that one day you will have to face them in a way that is much harder to walk away from. When your emotions become unstable, it is not love, it is a warning you are ignoring. There is a kind of connection that feels intense, overwhelming, and consuming. The kind that makes your heart race, your thoughts constantly circle around one person, your mood depend on their presence, their messages, their attention. And at first it feels powerful, it feels special, it feels like something rare that you should hold on to no matter what. But if you look deeper, beyond the surface of those emotions, you begin to notice something that should not be there in something truly meant for you, and that is instability, a constant shift between feeling close and feeling distant, feeling secure one moment and anxious the next, feeling valued today and uncertain tomorrow. And this emotional inconsistency slowly begins to shape your inner state in ways you do not immediately recognize. You wake up thinking about them, wondering how they feel, replaying conversations, analyzing tone, trying to understand what changed, why they responded differently, why their energy feels distant. And this pattern repeats itself so often that it becomes your normal. You begin to accept emotional confusion as part of love. You begin to believe that this up and down dynamic is what deep connection looks like. But the truth is far more serious than that, because real love, the kind that Allah places between two hearts that are meant to be together, does not leave you constantly guessing. It does not make you feel like your emotional state is controlled by another person's inconsistency. It does not create a cycle where you are always trying to regain a sense of stability that keeps slipping away. When your emotions are tied to someone who is inconsistent, your sense of peace begins to depend on things you cannot control, their attention, their mood, their availability, their level of effort, and this creates a form of emotional dependency where your happiness rises and falls based on how they treat you in that moment. And over time, this is not just exhausting, it is damaging, because it slowly takes away your emotional independence. It makes you more tolerant of behavior that you would have questioned before. It makes you more willing to accept uncertainty just to keep the connection alive. And this is not the foundation of a healthy relationship. This is the beginning of emotional imbalance. Also pay attention to how often you feel anxious compared to how often you feel at peace. Because anxiety is not a small detail you can ignore. It is a signal. It is your inner awareness reacting to something that does not feel safe or stable. And if your relationship is constantly triggering overthinking, doubt, and emotional discomfort, then this is not something you should normalize. This is something you should take seriously, because the person you marry will become part of your daily emotional environment, and if that environment is already unstable now, it will not magically become calm later without real change. Many people confuse emotional highs with genuine compatibility. They think that because they feel strongly, because they miss the person deeply, because they experience moments of intense happiness when things are good, that this must be real love. But what they do not realize is that emotional highs often become stronger in unstable relationships because they are followed by lows, and this contrast creates a cycle that feels addictive. You start chasing the good moments to escape the bad ones. You hold on tighter because you remember how it feels when everything is okay, and this keeps you stuck in a pattern where you are not actually at peace. You are just moving between relief and anxiety. The person meant for you will not make you feel like you are constantly trying to secure their presence in your life. They will not make you feel like you have to earn basic emotional stability. They will not make you question where you stand repeatedly, because real connection is not built on unpredictability. It is built on consistency, respect, and a sense of emotional safety that does not disappear every time something small changes. And this is where you need to be honest in a way that is difficult but necessary, because you have to ask yourself whether you are truly happy in this connection or whether you are simply attached to the idea of what it could be, because attachment can keep you holding on even when your experience is telling you something is wrong. Attachment can make you ignore how you actually feel on most days and focus only on the moments that give you temporary comfort. But long-term peace cannot be built on temporary relief. It requires stability, and stability is something that cannot exist where there is constant emotional uncertainty. Sometimes Allah allows you to feel this instability not to punish you, but to wake you up, to show you clearly that what you are holding on to is not bringing you the peace you are searching for. Because if He wanted you to stay in it, He would place calmness in your heart. He would make things easier, more balanced, more secure. But when instead you feel restless, emotionally drained, and constantly unsettled, it is not something you should ignore. It is something you should reflect on deeply. So if your emotions feel like they are on a constant roller coaster, if your peace depends on someone who cannot provide consistency, if your mind is always trying to figure out where you stand instead of feeling secure in it, then understand this clearly. This is not love in its true form. This is a warning that you are investing your heart in something that is not stable enough to carry the weight of your future. And ignoring this will not make it better. It will only make the fall heavier when reality finally catches up with what you have been trying not to see. When everything keeps falling apart, it may not be a test to hold on. It may be a sign to let go. There are moments in life when you try your best to make something work. You put in effort, you adjust your expectations, you stay patient, you keep giving chances, you try to fix misunderstandings, you try to communicate better, you try to hold on with sincerity because you believe that if something feels this strong, it must have a purpose, it must lead somewhere meaningful, it must eventually become what you are hoping for. But despite all of that effort, despite all of that emotional investment, things keep slipping, they keep breaking, they keep returning to the same problems, the same confusion, the same distance, the same emotional exhaustion, and slowly you begin to feel like you are the only one trying to hold something together that is constantly falling apart. At first, You call it a phase. You tell yourself that every relationship has ups and downs, that maybe this is just a difficult period that will pass, that maybe if you are patient enough, understanding enough, strong enough, things will eventually settle into something stable. But what you fail to notice is that this is not just an occasional difficulty, it is a repeated pattern, a cycle that continues no matter how much effort you put in, no matter how many times you try to fix it, no matter how much you adjust yourself to make things easier. And this is where you need to pause and reflect deeply, because not every struggle is meant to be endured, and not every connection is meant to be saved. There is a difference between a relationship that faces challenges but moves forward, and a relationship that keeps returning to the same broken point without real progress. The first one may require patience, growth, and effort, but it still carries a sense of direction, a sense that both people are moving towards something better, something more stable, something more aligned, while the second one leaves you feeling stuck, like you are walking in circles, like you are investing more but receiving less clarity, less peace, less certainty. And this is not something you should ignore, because it tells you something important about the reality of what you are holding on to. Sometimes Allah closes doors not because you failed, not because you did not try hard enough, not because you were not patient, but because what is behind that door is not meant for you. And when you keep trying to force it open, when you keep pushing against what is clearly not aligning, you begin to feel resistance in ways that are difficult to explain. Things do not flow naturally, timing never feels right, misunderstandings increase instead of decreasing, small issues become bigger, communication becomes harder, and instead of feeling like you are building something, you feel like you are constantly repairing something that never fully holds. And this is where many people make a critical mistake. They confuse persistence with purpose. They believe that the more difficult something is, the more meaningful it must be. They think that if they just hold on a little longer, everything will finally make sense. Everything will fall into place. But difficulty alone is not a sign that something is meant for you. Sometimes difficulty is a sign that you are trying to hold on to something that is not written for your peace, something that is not aligned with what Allah knows is best for your future. You also need to pay attention to how much of yourself you are losing in the process, because when something keeps falling apart, you often start giving more and more just to keep it alive. You sacrifice your peace, your emotional stability, your clarity, your sense of self, and over time you begin to feel drained, not just tired but deeply exhausted, in a way that affects your thoughts, your energy, your connection with Allah, and your ability to feel genuinely at ease. And this is not what something meant for you is supposed to feel like. The right person, the one who is truly written for you, will not require you to constantly fight just to keep the connection alive. They will not make you feel like you are the only one holding things together. They will not create a dynamic where everything depends on how much you are willing to tolerate. Because what is meant for you may have challenges, it may require patience, it may not be perfect, but it will not feel like a constant battle against instability. It will carry a sense of balance, a sense of mutual effort, a sense that even in difficult moments there is still something solid holding everything together. And sometimes the hardest truth to accept is that letting go is not failure, it is alignment. It is recognizing that not everything you feel strongly about is meant to stay. It is understanding that holding on to something that keeps breaking is not strength. It is resistance against what is already being shown to you, because Allah does not guide you through confusion alone. He guides you through patterns, through repeated signs, through experiences that reveal the reality of what you are dealing with. And if those patterns are consistently leading to instability, emotional exhaustion, and lack of clarity, then you need to ask yourself whether you are holding on because it is right or because you are afraid to let go. There is also a quiet peace that comes when you finally accept what is not working. A peace that does not come from getting what you wanted, but from understanding that what you wanted was not what you needed. And this peace is often delayed because you are so focused on making things work that you do not give yourself the chance to step back and see things clearly. But once you do, once you allow yourself to release what keeps falling apart, you begin to realize that what felt like loss was actually protection. What felt like an ending was actually a redirection. What felt like something breaking was actually something being removed before it could harm you in a deeper, more permanent way. So if you find yourself constantly trying to fix something that keeps breaking, constantly hoping for change that never fully comes, constantly investing in something that does not give you stability in return, then take a moment to reflect with complete honesty, because this may not be a test of how long you can hold on. This may be a sign of how willing you are to let go when something is clearly not aligned with your peace. And choosing to walk away from what keeps falling apart is not giving up. It is trusting that what Allah has written for you will not require you to lose yourself just to keep it together. It will come with a sense of ease, a sense of clarity, and a sense of peace that does not constantly slip through your hands no matter how tightly you try to hold on. So now, you have seen the signs, not the signs people talk about on the surface, but the ones you feel deep inside your heart, the ones you try to ignore, the ones that keep coming back no matter how much you silence them. And the truth is simple, but heavy. Before marriage, Allah shows you everything you need to see, not all at once, but slowly, clearly, repeatedly, through their actions, through your feelings, through the peace you lose, or the peace you feel. The question is not whether the signs are there. The real question is, are you honest enough to accept them? Because love can make you hold on even when everything is telling you to step back. Attachment can make you stay even when your heart is quietly asking for peace. But ignoring the truth now does not protect you later. It only delays the moment when you will have to face it in a harder way. So do not rush into something permanent while ignoring something obvious. Do not choose someone while losing yourself. Do not build a future on a foundation that already feels unstable, because the right person, the one truly written for you, will not confuse you, will not drain you, will not pull you away from Allah. They will bring calmness into your chaos, clarity into your confusion, and peace into your heart in a way that feels natural, not forced. And if you have to walk away from someone, even when it hurts, even when it feels like you are losing something important, understand this deeply. You are not losing what was meant for you. You are being protected from what was not. And what Allah has written for you will never require you to ignore your peace, to silence your heart, or to lose your connection with Him. It will come in a way that feels right, at the right time, with the right person, and when it comes, you will not feel confused anymore. You will feel at peace. Oh Allah, if what I am holding on to is not good for me, then remove it from my heart before you remove it from my life. Oh Allah, if this person is not written for my peace, my faith, and my future, then create distance between us in a way that protects me and brings me closer to you. Oh Allah, do not let my emotions blind me from the truth, and do not let my attachment make me ignore the signs you are showing me. Oh Allah, grant me clarity when I feel confused, grant me strength when letting go feels difficult, and grant me patience when your timing does not match my desires. Oh Allah, if this connection is khair for me, then make it easy, make it pure, and bring it in a way that is halal and full of peace. And if it is not, then replace it with something better, something that brings calmness to my heart, stability to my life, and closeness to you. O Allah, do not let me settle for what hurts me, do not let me chase what is not written for me, and do not let me lose myself while trying to hold on to someone. O Allah, write for me a spouse who will be a source of peace, who will strengthen my Deen, who will protect my heart, and who will walk with me towards Jannah. Ameen.